I'm Dr. Dan, talking to you from Vitamin Pro, and we want to talk a little bit about probiotics. Now, probiotics refers to the bacteria that are in your intestines and maybe even the bacterial complement of your skin and that type of thing. But it's important to remember that as a human being, it's a group effort, and it requires help from many different groups. Now, the bacteria cells make up 90% of what it means to be you. So 10% of you is actually human cells, 90% of those are bacteria cells. So, and these bacteria are primarily in your intestines and on your skin. Some really good studies recently have shown that there are about 1,000 different types of bacteria in your intestines. Now previously, we didn't really understand that because most of these will not grow in a culture. So how did we know? So now with DNA type technologies, we can look at how many bacteria are in there, and it looks like every possible little corner of your intestines has a different group of bacteria associated with it. Now when you take antibiotics, it tends to kill a lot of these, and so that's the main reason that people need probiotic therapy, because it's pretty common for a person to get overwhelmed by pathogenic bacteria. And then you take antibiotics, it tends to alter those relationships between your bacteria and candida and that kind of thing. And then if you don't replenish those, your intestines are never going to work quite right again. So and this can go even further. So let's say you have a hip surgery, an artificial hip or something, and you get an infection, and maybe you have to go on prolonged antibiotic therapy, or maybe Lyme disease or something. And so anyway, on prolonged antibiotic therapy for months or sometimes even years. Now what that will do is that will kill most of the friendly bacteria in your gut, but some of the pathogenic bacteria will not be killed by this, and they will actually form little pockets in your intestines, and they will weaken the intestinal wall, cause a little bulge. There will be an abscess in there, and then that can leak. And if that leaks, then you turn into what we call sepsis. And the mortality rate for sepsis is very high. So if you've had any kind of antibiotic treatment at all, you're going to need some probiotic therapy. So what we recommend is several different types of probiotics. I'm not going to go into detail. You can look more on vitaminpro.com for some website, for some written information about that. Because there are several different types of bacteria that you're going to need. And of course you can't replenish all 1,000 of those with supplements, but you can get the big ones, the basic ones. We recommend about 3 different types of brands of antibiotics: Neuroscience, Apex, and Biotics, because they all have something a little different in them. And we actually recommend you take them at different times of the day. In other words, you take Neuroscience, take a whole bunch of those, maybe 5 or 6 in the morning. Take some of the Apex Strengthia, for example. You might take 4 or 5 or 6 of those during lunchtime, and at nighttime you might do the Biotics BioDoff 7. And the reason is that they all have something a little bit different, and your intestines will figure it out. They'll know how to balance all that for you. So that's some aggressive therapy if you've had antibiotic problems, or you're chronically ill, you have autoimmune problems or something. You're going to need to do some aggressive probiotic therapy. So there's the basics of probiotics. You've got, say, 1,000 of these different types living in your intestines. Antibiotic therapy does wreak havoc with this, but you can replenish this, and you can restore a certain amount of health with getting the proper bacteria. But the tendency we see is for people to take like 1 capsule of these things a day. That's just not going to do it. 1 capsule of that one kind of bacteria, that's not going to do it. You're going to need a lot more different types. And we might update this. This information is coming pretty rapidly now, so I'll update this video as we need to, but that's what we know for the moment. So anyway, look at our website. There's a lot more information there, but this kind of gives you a basic overview. So thanks a lot for listening.